Hey everyone, welcome to the 1804 show, chapter 2. I'm your host, Dollar Will, and this is another episode of 1804 History. Today we're going to be talking about Calvin 50 Cent Martin, who was well-known, notorious gangster out of New York. And what really made me want to do this was because me and my barber was just talking about street stuff, and he wanted me to do this video badly, and I told him that I got you, bro. I got you. But yeah, just doing this research, man, was just like, wow, like this dude was only 5'2", 120 pounds, but he had people shook. It just really be crazy because that's like the same height and stature of some of these females out here. And you just really be shocked, like, damn, like this dude was a true gangster, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't from that life, but I grew up in the hood out of Michigan and everything like that. But it's just crazy how certain people just really grows up and to become so ruthless. But I can understand it to a certain degree because of the fact that people did underestimate him because of his height and stature. So, but yeah, on a serious note, you just sit back and wonder how a person's upbringing played a part in what they became. And from doing my research, I realized that he didn't grow up with his parents, but he was raised by his grandmother up in Fort Greene projects in Brooklyn. And just was a regular kid. I'm pretty sure he was bullied a lot. I'm pretty sure that he had to earn his respect out here, just like any typical person growing up in the hood, you know what I'm saying? You want that lifestyle. You seeing all the drug dealers, you seeing all the gangsters out here with money and this and that. So he wanted to basically, reap the benefits of that type of life and became a stick up kid and just robbing numerous of people. And they said that the numbers varies. So he was on his grind, you know what I'm saying? He was on that tip 24/7. It became an addiction. And even his associates said it was over 30 bodies that this dude accumulated over or throughout the years. And it's really crazy because he was respected at the same time. But when you're moving like that, you create enemies. And he was marked for death a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? They said that he was shot himself like over 20 times and stabbed 9 times and going back and forth to Rikers Island on a numerous basis. But it's just really crazy because he's in the ironic paid in full album cover in the back when he posing with Eric B and Rakim and their friends and associates. He's in the back of the iconic album cover. So he was stamped. He was solidified. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really crazy. It's just the fact that he was really backdoored like he was. But before his untimely death, well, I won't say untimely death, but his before his shooting that eventually took him out, he enlisted in the United States Army, actually making it through basic training. And he would send letters to his homegirl and telling her that everything would be cool. She just makes sure that to be looking out for him when he gets out, type thing. But always trying to humanize even the worst of people because that's just how I operate. But he was eventually was going to turn his life around because he was going to become a father and stuff like that. So he wanted to get out the streets, work a regular job, and but he did too much dirt. And it's just what people fail to realize is that your past always comes back to you and haunts you, type thing. And you have to understand, like, you have to make the bed, well, lay in the bed that you made. And I just try to just make sure that I live right and live as righteous as possible because you just never know what can possibly happen. And it got so bad because even after his honorary discharge, he was sent back to New York to face robbery charges. It got so bad for him that he couldn't even stay in his own hood anymore. So he had to go to the Albany housing projects to hide. And he was being hid for a minute until one of his so-called friends, it was a Puerto Rican dude. If y'all know the name, forgive me. It's really hard to pronounce, but I just don't have the knowledge of saying his name. But he was a local cat. I don't be pillow talking like that. But he was a friend of his, and he trusted him, and he shot him multiple times after leaving a friend's house. You know what I'm saying? Right afterwards. So just imagine going to see somebody on the 13th floor and then you get gunned down on the 7th floor in the same moment. And he fought for his life. You know what I'm saying? He clearly survived that because he was in ICU for a couple days. And then he regained consciousness and then was taken from ICU to a regular trauma center, and that's when he passed away on October 24th, 1987, at the age of 23 years old. And it's just really sad, you know what I'm saying? It's really sad because of the fact that 23, you're still a kid, you're still a baby. So just to be able to live a dangerous life like that at a young age speaks volumes. And it spoke volumes because even the rapper 50 Cent was so humbled and so inspired by this man that he took on his name as a moniker of his. And he admits it, he don't deny the fact that, he took his name out of respect and moderation and allegedly paid for his new headstone. So he gives his respect to the original rapper because they're quite similar. They're both fearless, they both hard-headed, they both was petty, you know what I'm saying? But he wanted to make sure that the name lived on. And I believe Curtis Jackson just really gave his name new meaning. You know what I'm saying? And just come from somebody who was considered a grimy cat stick up kid, murderer, whatever, he is now cemented in Hollywood and the music industry and just considered to be a legend in both avenues, you know what I'm saying? So you always, excuse me, you always got to big up to the people that came before you, who paved the way for you. And we lost that sense of admiration in this generation because everybody doesn't move like that no more. So just for Curtis Jackson to take on somebody who was killed and this and that and turning him into a household name, that's love, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just a guy, 23 years old, before he was able to be a father to his daughters. You know, it just a cautionary tale. You know, it's a sad, that they um father, passed away before they met him and stuff. But yeah, he was a good dude. He just did too much, But hey, who am I to judge? But it's just unfortunate that he didn't get the chance to really grow old. And my message to all the youth is that make sure that you live, make sure you do right by people, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have to live with the consequences at the end of the day. And you can't trust everybody. Do not trust nobody. Because you don't know who is real and everybody is not your friend. And he got killed by somebody that he knew and somebody that he trusted. So that's a message for y'all.